Hey everybody, how's it going? Stadman coming right back at you, and today I'm going to be talking to you about another horror movie that I watched for Halloween this year. And this time around, I decided to watch Crimson Peak, which I picked up a few years ago for like $7.88 or something like that, and never got around to actually watching until now. I got it upon the recommendation of a friend of mine. I believe Skinslip recommended this to me. And he's one of those guys that when it comes to horror movies, if he says that it's a great movie, it's gonna be good. He knows what I like, so he knew I was gonna like this, and he was absolutely right. It's a fan-frickin-tastic movie. If you're into gothic kind of stuff, I love gothic stuff. I love gothic stories. I love gothic movies. I mean, it's really hard to get them nowadays because gothic has gone out of style in movies, I would say, for the most part. There are some movies that have gothic aspects to them nowadays. Like, for example, A Cure for Wellness. That was a very gothic movie, but it's not like pure gothic stuff. You know, it's not a pure gothic film. I would say this is more along the lines of pure gothic because it's set in the right time frame. It's like the 1800s. It's a movie about a woman falling in love with a man and ending up living in his mansion, this old, dirty, disgusting mansion out in the middle of nowhere that may or may not be haunted. And yeah, that kind of stuff, the haunted mansion kind of stuff, that's très gothique, if you will. You know what I mean? So absolutely on point with the gothic here, and it is so good. I mean, shouldn't be too surprised because it's Guillermo del Toro, but yeah, he did a really good job with this one. Honestly, I love a lot of the stuff that he does. This may be one of my favorites from him. I don't know if it's going to be like that favorite, but it's definitely top 5. That's not hard to do. He hasn't made that many movies. I'll say like top 3. Top 3 for sure, because I would definitely put Pan's Labyrinth and The Devil's Backbone at 1 and 2. This one goes at 3. Crimson Peak, holy crap. So good, so creepy, so fun. And yeah, because the format of like gothic stories has been told a million times before, it's a pretty predictable movie just because you've kind of heard the story a million times before, right? But it's got its own thing going here, its own concept going. It's the same story you've heard a million times before, just told a different way with different characters that you've never seen before. And because of that, it feels fresh, which is nice because it's really hard to have a fresh gothic movie. All I'm saying is, even though it's fresh, it's still something you've heard a million times before, so you're going to be able to predict what happens next, right? You're going to understand implicitly that these people are up to no good, and you're going to understand implicitly that this girl, because of the name of the movie alone, this girl is going to end up where she's not supposed to be, and there's just all that stuff that you can pretty well predict what's going to happen. That being said, because the movie is slightly different enough, because it has its own characters and the characters have their own motivations and all that, it does feel fresh. And I feel like if I'm going to compare it to anything, I would probably compare it to something like Chinatown. If you guys are familiar with Chinatown, it's essentially a film noir. It's a more modern film noir, a neo-noir, some would call it, from the 70s, starring Jack Nicholson. It is a film noir, and it's based on film noir, but they do a lot of things in that particular movie that would never have been possible during the noir movement era of the 40s. So, because they do that, it has a completely fresh feeling, a completely different feeling to what a proper noir film would have, right? And in much the same way, Crimson Peak has the same gothic feel and whatnot from a proper gothic film, but they do things in this movie, and there are aspects of the plot itself that are inextricable from the film itself that just would never have been possible in like a proper old Gothic film, right? I recently got Dragonwyck and watched that one, and that's more of like that's also a Gothic kind of story itself, because it's got the same thing going on of a woman ending up in a house that she's not supposed to end up in, and the house may not be haunted, and you know, it's definitely got that Gothic appeal to it. It's more of a proper Gothic film. But this one, they do things, there's insinuations in this about the characters that just never would have been possible in a movie in the 40s because of the code, the movie code and whatnot, and because it just wasn't considered proper, it wasn't considered decent to have that kind of discussion in a film at the time. Because of that, it's not possible really to call this like a proper Gothic film, but it is, I would say, the most dead-on interpretation of a Gothic film that I have seen possibly in the modern era in general. So I had a lot of fun with it. I really enjoyed it. I felt like Guillermo del Toro did a frickin' phenomenal, fantastic job. He always does. I'm just saying, very impressed with this one in particular. Maybe that has something to do with the fact that I really enjoy these kinds of stories, these haunted house stories. But whatever the case is there, very big fan of this one, and I will be picking up the Arrow Video limited edition, collector's edition release of this when I get the chance to. Yes, if you didn't know, this has gotten, or is soon getting, an Arrow video release. So definitely want to pick that one up whenever I can, because loved this movie, and if I can get an ultra-deluxe version of it, all the better, because, you know, as nice as it is to have it on Blu-ray like this, and the transfer, there's nothing wrong with the transferring like that. I'm sure I would love it even more if I had the big old box set that looks beautiful with the nice artwork and everything. This is also good artwork, but not as nice as the Arrow set. Holy crap, you guys need to go see the Arrow set. And that one has not yet been released, but it is being released soon, so yeah, keep an eye out for that one. I'll put a link in the description down below to both copies of this movie so that you guys can at least take a look and see what the Arrow video one looks like. But yeah, really good movie. I definitely recommend watching this whenever you get the chance. It's a fantastic film. If you want to get the Blu-ray, go for the Blu-ray. If you want to watch it digitally, watch it digitally. Do whatever you want to. But if you like Gothic stuff like I do, Crimson Peak is a must. So yeah, there you go. That'll do it for me today. Thanks for watching, guys. Catch you later. Peace.